I've been sharing lots of videos of me being at the right spot at the right time lately. And I don't want you guys to think that that's the norm for me, because it's not. Far from it actually. This session is a good example of what usually happens. As you can see, the waves were absolutely firing, and I thought I had found the best sandbar ever. And for as long as it took me to get to the spot and set my camera up, the waves were perfect. Peeling rights with some barrel sections and very few closeouts. In my head, I was in for what could be the best session of my life. I paddled out with very high expectations based on what I had seen in the last 20 minutes. And to be honest, the first 20 minutes of my session were right on par with my expectations. As per usual, my positioning was a bit off on my first wave, but I quickly found where I needed to sit in order to be right behind the barrel section. Already on my third wave, I noticed that the section wasn't as good as what I had seen from the beach. It was clamping pretty hard and was very fast. And the next set really threw me off. It was coming in at a different angle and was closing out hard on the sandbar. I've been there one too many times and I knew exactly what this meant. One of you guys once wrote in the comments, if it looks good when you're checking the waves, you're already too late. And that was exactly it. The tide was going out and the inside portion of the sandbar did not have enough water over it for the waves to wrap around it anymore. It was straightening out and breaking all at once. At this point, it wasn't too bad since some of the sets were still breaking right. But I knew that it would quickly deteriorate and that what I thought was going to be an epic session might just end up being very deceiving. I mean, look at this wave for example. Even with a good positioning, I only had time to get one turn in before the wave inevitably closed out. And it wasn't even the kind of closeout you would want to throw a finishing turn at. It was the very mean, below sea level type of closeout. But look, there were still some gems out there. The next set was much better, and the last wave was actually a bomb.
I'm going to miss the entire set. Jesus. I'm going to even take it on the head. That is a perfect wave. Holy.
Too bad I missed it because that thing wrapped itself perfectly around the sandbar. So anyways, you get the idea. This was a typical right place, wrong time session. And the wind got stronger too, which made me miss a lot of really good waves. I am in no way complaining, but rather trying to restore the reality of my surfing journey. Here, I think I missed my shot at a potentially insane vision. I honestly just chickened out of that tube, and what a shame that was, because look at how long that section stayed open for. I need to learn to pack the tube again. Here is the best turn of my entire session. A pretty good snap right in the pocket and with a little bit of an airdrop coming out of it. I tried doing it again and nose dived, but I was stoked on that first turn anyway. This is where the session really started going downhill for me. For a good 30 minutes, either I would miss the wave or I would get in too deep and I couldn't make it past the first section. It was pretty frustrating, honestly. This is what I meant when I told you that the norm isn't what you've been seeing on the channel lately. This is what the norm is. High expectations and pretty poor results. This is what makes good sessions so much more rewarding. It kind of hurts watching those clips from the beach, because when you fail, you don't really get to appreciate what you've missed since you're behind it. But look at this wave. That was a pillar and I was just slightly too deep. I was so bummed to have missed that turn. I had finally caught a bomb, was well positioned, but I didn't keep my rail engaged long enough and found myself out of the power zone coming out of the turn. Look at this perfect wave, rolling in without me. Yes, that was 2 consecutive missed paddle ins in the same clip. Those take so much energy out of you because you really give it everything you've got. More than if you had caught the wave actually, because you're trying to make up for a bad positioning. That was a good wave, but I'm not really happy with my surfing there. I didn't drive through my bottom turns long enough, and I had to abort both of my top turns mid-face because of it. I'm pretty happy with this wave. That turn was solid, though I could have rotated my upper body more to create even more torque. And then, for some obscure reason, I don't even try and pack the barrel section, which is a shame because that thing was really nice. Here goes my last wave and a better turn with more upper body rotation. So here it is. That was a typical session. Not typical in terms of the conditions, as the waves were honestly really good, but typical as in right place, wrong time. And typical surfing too. Lots of mistakes, quite a bit of frustration, and only a couple makes. The more this channel grows, the more I'm tempted to filter those sessions out. But I think doing that is a gateway to a never-ending cycle of trying to always put out better and better looking content. And this is not what this channel is about. This is about real surfing in the real world, where conditions aren't perfect all the time, and even when they are perfect, you might not be, and that's okay. So I will always try and balance the epic sections, like the ones you saw recently, with some average ones like this one. Because, as I always say, you can only appreciate good sessions as much as you've struggled through the bad ones. If you guys liked the relatability of this session, please like the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.